Wisconsin this summer in July. It's the 22nd year that my family has been going up to Wisconsin. Granted, I'm only 22 years old. They've been going much longer than since I was born. Before we leave, my grandparents always come and visit us at our house to go grocery shopping so we can split the groceries between our two vans. And for a good half an hour, my grandfather and my dad decided to argue about when we should leave. Of course, I'm always very punctual and I like to leave extra early, so I was siding with my dad that we should leave the house no later than 7. And my grandpa was saying, no, you don't need to leave till 8, it'll be fine, there won't be traffic, blah, 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 blah. So we decided, okay, fine, we'll listen to Grandpa. He's been going there even longer than any of us. So we left, we were supposed to leave at 8. Unfortunately, the rest of my family runs late. So we didn't leave the house until almost 9 o'clock. So we get on the road, and of course around 9 o'clock there's traffic. So we're running extremely late. So we called my grandparents and we asked, where are you? Are you at the rest stop yet? And they go, yeah, we've been here for about 20 minutes. Well, we were still an hour away from the rest stop. So they had to wait roughly an hour and a half for us to arrive and use the bathroom. It was totally normal for our family, unfortunately. We've stopped at the same restaurant for about 30 years now, and it's a Perkins up in Wisconsin, about an hour away from our destination. And when we got there, it was pretty busy, which is normal, but they said they could only sit all 15 of us at 2 different tables. And the last time we had done that, it was a disaster. One table got their food in about 20 minutes, another table had to wait an hour before they got their food because we had 2 different servers. So after hemming and hawing for a while, we decided to head back to just use 2 tables, and it worked out fine. So we avoided the disaster, but again, me being a worrywart, I was like, oh no, we should just wait, but it worked out fine. Now, you would think, leaving late, being stuck in traffic, having to use the restroom a million times on the road, we would be late to our destination up in Rhinelander, Wisconsin. However, we were exactly 5 minutes early. So, everyone's like, oh man, we gotta go to the bathroom, hurry up, get the keys, I hope the cabins are ready. And they weren't, because we were early. And the people that own the resort really like to keep things right on time. So everyone had to do the potty dance for 5 minutes before we could get inside. The first night we don't have our boat, our pontoon boat, which we rent. So no one really did a lot of fishing, which is our main goal, event, whatever you want to say. We do it a lot up in Wisconsin. So my parents, the next morning, about 9 o'clock, the boat's supposed to be dropped off at the landing, so they get ready, they drive down there. There's not very good cell phone reception, so the boat place is trying to call my parents and say, we're running late, we're sorry, please wait for us. And all of a sudden, I get a phone call from my mom, screaming mad, because this is like the 3rd time they have been so late. So they drive back so they can get some cell reception, and they pull up, and I'm like, the guy's there. Why did you leave? Why didn't you just wait? They were only 10 minutes late. So finally they check out the boat, everything looks good. There are some dings and dents, so they check that off on their little paper or whatever so you don't get charged. And then we are ready. Everyone is down at the dock, fishing poles, life vests, tackle boxes, worms, you name it, we've got it. So we get on the boat, and once we get out into the lake, drop anchor, and we try to turn the radio on. It won't turn on. So then me and my boyfriend Vince are sitting there trying to fiddle with the radio instead of trying to catch fish. And we finally get it to turn on. But now it won't change from like this hip-hoppy, new pop radio station that my parents absolutely cannot stand. So I'm thinking, oh, well, what can we do, because it gets, it's pretty quiet on the lake, and you're just sitting there for about 8 hours. You want something more than just your uncle singing Roxanne all day. So finally I decide, alright, we'll get a connection cable and we'll use Pandora because the auxiliary plug was working. So we finally had radio after the first day. Now, on to the main event, fishing. As I said, we're usually on the boat about 8 hours a day. We don't even go in for lunch usually. You have to eat a big breakfast before you leave. And then you're out there from about 7 in the morning till it gets dark, about 8 o'clock at night. So I guess 12 hours, 13 hours, it depends. The first day, no one caught any fish. So it was really disappointing, because every year the fishing has gotten better and better. So we were excited. We were ready. We were going to catch all these fish. And we were so disappointed when no one caught any fish. So that night at dinner, my Uncle John says, "That's it, tomorrow we gotta catch a fish with teeth." Now, you have like panfish or bass, and they don't have teeth, so it's not as fun to catch them. They don't fight and pull on your reel very much. So we go back out the next morning, and no more than 2 casts in, my boyfriend Vince catches this northern. Now they have teeth, except for this one, which it was about 4 inches long and it looked like a snake. So it really didn't have any teeth whatsoever. So my uncle turns to him and goes, "Vince, nice catch, but seriously, we need bigger teeth." So we're fishing and nothing's coming up. We catch a couple bass. Day's pretty uneventful. And my grandpa decides, oh, well, I'll go fishing this one time, because he has a hard time getting to the boat. So we're all excited, oh good, he's going to go fishing, whatever. Unfortunately, he didn't catch anything, so he was pretty discouraged that all of his efforts to get to the boat were for nothing. The next day is the ladies' day, because it's my grandma Char's birthday, so all the girls go out on the boat and they pan fish, but just using worms. It's not, lures, it's not casting. And, let's see, my grandma Bev catches the anchor, not once, but twice. Now, catching the anchor can be quite a pain in the butt, because the boat starts to move when you lift it up, and you can hit weeds or a rock, and that will ruin the bottom of the boat. Luckily, that didn't happen. The next day, my dad, my uncle, and my boyfriend went out, and my dad has been fishing since he was 3, all of his life. And he's like, oh, I'm going to catch a muskie. We're going to Muskie Bay. And so no one was in the boat except for those 3. And he comes back. They've caught 2 northern, 3 bass, and they finally caught a muskie. And that was the happiest I had ever seen my dad in my life. And my uncle comes in going, yeah, well, you know what that means, Laura, who's my mom. So his sister goes, you know what that means? You're bad luck. So my mom goes, fine, I'm bad luck, whatever. And it was her goal from that point on to be in the boat and have them catch a big fish. Finally, on the last day, I haven't caught anything. I'm pretty much just out there for show. And 5 minutes before we had to go turn the boat in, I catch the last fish. And I didn't even know what happened. I was so excited I almost dropped my pole in the water. It was a bass, so it wasn't anything big, but it was exciting. So we went back and we packed and everything like that, and pretty much our drive home was uneventful as usual. We stopped for lunch and then we separated, and whenever we get home we always think, man, wouldn't it be nice to have a vacation from our vacation?